The PS4 and the Xbox One are superior to PCs for various reasons, and I'm going to enlighten you on a few of those things in this video. Number 1, games. The PC, it's really just MMOs. I mean, it's pretty gay, it's free MMOs, pay to plays. There's a couple of games that you can mod. People will say, well, there's mods. Well, the only games that really are moddable, that people actually mod that's worth anything, is probably Skyrim and World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft sucks. It's boring, it's out of date, and it's losing players by the day. And we're getting ready for the Elder Scrolls MMO, which of course is coming to the PS4 and Xbox One as well, making the whole MMO scenario not quite as valid anymore. All the main games come to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, while all the crappy ones go to the PC. All the third party, just really indie games that nobody likes, just a bunch of garbage. We have a thing like that. It's called Xbox Arcade and PSN. We get all those games. Most of the games on the computer suck. Part 2, ease of play. Now, when you buy a computer game, often you have to make sure you have the right operating system, the right patches. You got to go to your manufacturer's website for your GPU, be it NVIDIA or ATI. You got to download the appropriate drivers. Often a game is released and either an ATI card or a NVIDIA card, one in specific, will have problems, and you'll need to wait for those patches to come out. The games are often just filled with glitches and just filled with loopholes and things that are just making your gaming experience not very good. So you come to the console. What do? You buy the game, you put it into the system. But back to the PC, I'll get back to that in a minute. Not only do you have to do all of that, you got to make sure you have the right system requirements, okay? Certain cards are compatible, certain ones aren't. Most of them are, but the older systems, some games won't even start with it, okay? Now, when you put in a computer game, you got to adjust the graphics, you got to put patches, mods, you got to modify the INI files just to make a game run at low settings, unless you have a $1,500 computer. With a console, you merely put in the disc, you sit back, relax, you hit play, and you're good to go. No patches, and if there are, it does it automatically. You sit back, relax, and every time you put in that game, you know that you can play it. Whenever you buy a game, you can put it into your system, and it's going to work. Simple as that. Part 3, graphics and price. Alright, PS4, $399, people. Now, a lot of people will say, well, the computers of today are already vastly superior to the PS4 technically. That may be so, but here's your problem. The 360 can play Skyrim. I know a lot of people with i7s at 3 GHz and dual GPUs by ATI, which have problems and frame rates at ultra settings, which looks just as good as a 360 does. So a 360, the 360 might suffer from frame rate issues once in a while, but when you consider that this game is running at 1080p on an Xbox 360 from like 8 years ago, and a PC that costs $800 or more is having frame rate issues. Here is why. Because PCs are a fat kid in Jordans. Consoles are a skinny kid in Walmart shoes, okay? PCs have no optimization. It's scattered. There's like hundreds of different GPUs, or more realistically, probably around 20 to 50 that actually matter. But the constant release drivers, you have to wait for driver improvements for each one, and you got to hope that yours is the newest one, or you're most likely not going to get the best one. Also, the drivers that are even updated for your GPU are not specifically done for your GPU for that particular game. That patch covers a wide variety of things. The console, the game is built for those specifications for that GPU, for that processor, for the operating system, for everything, down to the very last bolt and screw and soldering point. The game is built and created around that system. Even a multi-platform game, still they have to transfer the game in correlation with how a game is created for that system. It's being made for that system, for its parts. That's why it runs better. That's why you can have a game that has amazing graphics. Even though the hardware is inferior, it has amazing graphics because it is highly optimized. While the PC, it is not highly optimized. So while a PS4 will run a game at 60 frames at 1080p, some guy with a $1,000 computer, he's going to have to put a third GPU in his computer and overclock his thing and get more of this and more of that just to rival the PS4's graphics. So in the long run, the PS4 and Xbox One will continue to grow and will continue to get better graphically. So while you have to upgrade your parts to increase graphics, we just sit back and relax and the developers do it all for us. Part 4. Lies. Every PC gamer will be like, dude, I can get a computer for under $300 that will outperform the PS4. You know how funny that is. You couldn't even get a computer for under $300 that can outperform a 360, yet alone an Xbox One or PS4. And whenever they say they can never provide you with an actual link, an internet-based link, to where anybody wanting to buy a computer for under $300 can get one that can max out Skyrim. Max it out, under $300. Link, please put it in the comments. Give me a link for a computer under $300 that I can buy right now, put together for me, done, did, over with, right now. If you cannot do that, then your entire argument is pointless. In fact, you couldn't even find me an $800 computer that could rival the graphical power through optimization that the PS4 and Xbox One can offer. I'm not talking tech-wise, but rather performance-wise, based on optimization and drivers. Part 5. Size and convenience. Have you ever seen a desktop computer? It's enormous. It's gigantic. Even if you tried to make a thin one, it costs you a fortune and you get less performance for it. And a laptop, they overheat constantly. And they're not made for it. And those cost a fortune. A console, the PS4 is smaller than the Xbox 360 was. It sits conveniently, it looks very elegant, you can put it wherever you want. Stand it up, sit it flat, done, over with, whatever you like. A computer is bulky. You gotta plug in all these cords into the back. You gotta have system speakers, you gotta have the monitor, you gotta have a keyboard, you gotta have a mouse, you gotta have a mouse pad. You know, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. The convenience factor obviously goes to a console. That's one of its most strongest points, is convenience and player ease and comfort and reliability. Part 6. Inferior. PC's technology, okay? You gotta really think about this hard. Just because you have one graphics card that says 10,000 flops and then the one in the console might say 5,000, you automatically think in your mind, well, that must mean that my system is superior. No, I don't judge a system's superiority based on its foundation. I base it on its outcome, how it performs. And a PC with twice as many specs as a console does not perform well. It just goes to show how unoptimized a computer is. It just goes to show of how worthless and useless your GPU and your computer is right now, and your processor. Your GPU is so powerful that you should be able to play games that look like real life when you compare it to one in a system. But it simply is not optimized, and it's not optimized for a reason, because if it were, Nvidia couldn't release a card every couple of months or 10 different variations. Neither could ATI. And that's why they continue to do that. That's why they're not going to release a driver which will allow your card to play anything like it's nothing. They could. They absolutely could. I mean, some nerds in a modding forum can make Skyrim run 50 to 60% better. You think the game developers don't know that? They're in correlation. They all work together. It's to get you to continuously upgrade and buy new parts. And because you're stupid, you continuously do it. Because, oh, I have the money and I can do that. I'm a baller like that. No, the whole time while you think you're cool and your friends think you're cool, they're laughing at you because you're an idiot. Some rich guy in a suit's going, while he takes all that $800 and $600 for a GPU that you spend. To finalize this thing, guys, look, it doesn't matter if your computer has 5 GPUs or 2 processors or 6 or 10 or 20. If it's not optimized, then you're only going to be better at creating videos and music production if you actually do that. Since it's irrelevant to gaming, it's not really relevant in this conversation, but a lot of you think it is, so I had to put that in there. All your technology, all your stuff and your advances are useless. They're not optimized, they're not even used really. A console, the PS4, has already demonstrated games like Resistance and things of that nature that look so incredible that I can promise you that a game of such graphical intensity would not run very well on your PC. If it was just released on the PC, you would have to upgrade your graphics card again or sacrifice some settings, unless you really had like a supercomputer, like with 4 graphics cards. I honestly believe that it would take around 2 to 4 of the top of the line GPUs to handle at 1080p at 60 frames the games that the PS4 is going to be releasing. Its initial games look incredible, better than any PC game. Resistance looks better than any PC game I've seen yet, along with a few other games. Having that said, the games that the PS4 will come out with, even after it starts to become more optimized, it's going to be incredible. $399, people. $399. More value, more entertainment, better games, convenience and comfort, simplicity. What more could you possibly want? That wraps us up.